Welcome back, Knights. I'm Braden Larson.
And I'm Caitlin Kearney. Thanks for tuning in to episode 16 of Vervecast.
You can find other episodes on our website, thevervenews.com, or on our YouTube channel, The Verve Newspaper.
This issue will be covering Mrs. Brown's exotic trip to South Africa.
And this year's Acts production.
Vervecast starts now. Our first story covers geography teacher Mrs. Brown and her adventures in South Africa.
Learn more from her and join Samuel with the story.
Thanks, Braden. During her study abroad trip to South Africa, Mrs. Brown had many humbling and life-changing experiences. She participated in missions work and also enjoyed several thrilling activities.
But we got to go into these townships, and we got to go into the schools, and we got to build relationships with the children and listen to them perform traditional African music and traditional African dances. And we also got to build them a garden and paint their school walls and provide soccer equipment for them.
While working in poor neighborhoods called townships, Mrs. Brown was greatly impacted by the faith of the African people.
They have such a strong relationship with God and the Lord, and they're just so grateful for everything He's put in their life. And I look at what they have, and they don't have anything. They're living in a house the size of our bedroom with 8-9 people in the home. So it was very humbling, and it made me come home and realize that I need to stop complaining and not being happy with everything I have.
Mrs. Brown was also able to support endangered animals by visiting the zoo.
We went to a local zoo that helps the endangered animals in South Africa, and we got to play with the cheetahs. So cheetahs are the only big cat you can domesticate. So the cheetahs there were domesticated, so they just acted like just giant house cats. They came up and rubbed their heads on you. They just sat there and rolled over and were purring, and you got to pet them, and that was really, really amazing. And then we got to play with the elephants there.
Towards the end of the trip, Mrs. Brown went bungee jumping, paragliding, and swimming with sharks.
You just have to jump head first. If you get up to the platform and you don't jump, those guys are going to push you. Then we got to paraglide. In this case, we were floating over Cape Town, which is a big city in South Africa, and then we went out over the ocean. That was really, really beautiful, and kind of feels like you're a bird. You very much feel weightless. And those sharks, those great whites, are so giant, and they're so magnificent, and that water is so cold. But those sharks were so cool.
Mrs. Brown's trip to South Africa has challenged her faith and adventurous spirit. Back to you, Braden.
What a unique experience.
Her passion for God and adventure is inspiring. Next up, hear about Act's new show from Danielle.
Thanks, Caitlin. For the first time, drama is putting on a Shakespeare production, which is a different experience for many participants.
There's this stereotype about Shakespeare where that it's hard to understand, it doesn't make any sense, it's boring, right? Well, I thought the same thing until I started doing this show, and I noticed while the language is a little bit different, seeing it performed out on stage makes it so much easier to see, and especially this show, it's actually very funny. I was surprised by how many of the jokes I actually understood just by reading the script.
While this style of production is new and unfamiliar to cast members, they recognize the importance of Shakespeare and have come to thoroughly enjoy the storyline.
It's also been changed a lot because we have different needs than Shakespeare did when he wrote the play, so it's really interesting adapting. And in Shakespeare's time, there would be no women acting, and now we mostly have women acting, so it's interesting to see how that works out in the play and changes everything.
Gavin will be playing the lead role Benedict, a funny and unique character.
Well, I think Benedict, he has a very specific way for just living life. He has a very comical, humorous, sarcastic way. I think it's probably not the best way to live life, but it's very funny and enjoyable to portray.
The cast has been challenged by the Shakespearean style of writing.
I have to memorize my lines in this almost a different language, but it's definitely been a fun challenge getting to experience Shakespeare.
The play has definitely challenged me with the way things are said. because lines are way more difficult to memorize, because usually I can have like a keyword that I remember and it'll trigger the rest of the line, but everything's all out of order with the language, so it's harder to memorize.
The cast is very excited to perform Much Ado About Nothing at the end of March. Back to you, Caitlin.
I can't wait to see how their first Shakespeare play unfolds.
Well, that's a wrap for today, Knights. Thank you for watching.
Remember, you can find all things Vervecast by visiting our website, thevervenews.com, our YouTube channel, or scanning the QR code in our paper.
Also, don't forget to read more about the topics we covered today and others in issue 3 of our paper. Thanks for watching, and remember,
The Verve is your voice.